Open Google Earth, zoom in on a random patch of nature, and it'll look harmless. A valley, a forest, a lakeshore. But some places don't need claws, teeth, or explosions to kill you, because the danger isn't in the landscape, it's in the air. No smell, no color, no warning. And when it hits you, your body doesn't even get time to panic. Tonight, I'm showing you 3 places you can find on Google Earth, but reaching them in real life can be impossible for one reason. These invisible killers usually follow the same rule. They're heavier than normal air, so they sink. They collect in low spots, ditches, basins, valleys, even stairwells. From above, it looks calm. On the ground, it can turn into a trap. Imagine walking into a room and the lights don't turn off, but the oxygen does. And the scariest part? On a calm day, you won't see it on camera. You won't hear it in the trees. The only clue is what your body does. Too late. That's why these places feel like they're hiding in plain sight. Google Earth. Zoom into the mountains. Pine forests. Hiking trails. Snow in the distance. It looks like a place you'd visit to breathe the cleanest air on Earth. Now, look closer. There are patches where the forest just stops. Dead trees. Bare ground. Like something beneath the soil decided life doesn't belong there. This is Mammoth Mountain in California, and the threat here isn't a predator or a cliff edge. It's carbon dioxide seeping out of the earth. CO2 doesn't have a smell, it doesn't make smoke, and it doesn't need to be toxic to be lethal. In certain conditions, it pools close to the ground, especially on still days, inside depressions, or in enclosed spaces. And when the concentration gets high enough, it doesn't poison you in the movie sense. It simply replaces oxygen. People can lose consciousness fast. And the cruel part is, there may be no burning sensation, no warning feeling. You might feel slightly dizzy, slightly confused, and then your legs don't work the way you expect. Rescuers have had to treat this like a hidden hazard, because if you rush into the wrong pocket without protection, you can become the next victim. That's why this area has monitoring, warnings, and restricted spots. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's real. And here's the twist. This place isn't forbidden because someone built a fence. It's impossible because nature turned parts of it into an invisible hazard zone. But Mammoth Mountain is still the controlled version. There are signs. There are systems. There are people watching the numbers. Now let's remove the safety net. Google Earth. Zoom to a city near a volcano. Streets, homes, footpaths, normal life. And then, scattered around the area are places locals avoid. Not because they're haunted, not because of crime, because they're low. In parts of Central Africa, there are zones people call mazuku, which roughly translates to evil wind. But it isn't wind. It's carbon dioxide rising naturally from the ground, then sliding into depressions like water, a shallow ditch, a small pit, a low doorway, even a staircase that drops down just a little too far. And the danger is brutally simple. If you step into the wrong low spot at the wrong time, you could be breathing air that can't keep you conscious. Here's what makes it terrifying. You could stand one step higher and be fine. Then you step down and the rules change. There are accounts of animals being found in these pockets, sometimes people too, because the gas sits right where lungs expect oxygen to be. No monster, no warning sound, just a quiet line you didn't know you crossed. What makes this worse than the first case is proximity. Mammoth Mountain is a destination. You choose to go there. Mazuku zones can exist near where people walk every day, near where kids play, near doorways, near roads. And once you understand that, you start to realize why impossible to reach doesn't always mean far away. Sometimes it means you can't safely reach it even if it's right in front of you. And now we reach the final step of escalation, because both of those places have something in common. The gas is dangerous, but it's relatively localized. The next place is not. If you're into real investigations like this, where we use maps, real footage, and documented science to explain dangers most people never hear about, subscribe and hit like, because it tells YouTube this isn't just creepy content. It's the kind of documentary research you want more of. Alright, let's go to the biggest case file. Google Earth. Zoom out. You'll see a massive lake in the Great Rift Valley region. From above, it's beautiful. Blue water, green hills, towns along the shore. This is Lake Kivu. and it's one of the most unsettling invisible killer stories on Earth. Not because of what's happened, but because of what could happen under the wrong conditions. Deep below the surface, gases can build up in layers, especially in lakes with the right depth and structure: carbon dioxide and methane. Think about that. A lake can quietly store dangerous amounts of gas like a sealed container, and if something disrupts that balance, a landslide, an earthquake, volcanic activity, or a shift in the lake's layers, the gas can come out of solution rapidly, like opening a shaken bottle. Scientists call the nightmare scenario a limnic eruption. And you already know what happens when gas moves through a landscape like this. It doesn't float away like smoke. It collapses. It flows along the ground. It pours into valleys. It fills the lowest places first, because that's where heavy gas wants to live. Lake Kivu sits in a region where millions of people live within reach of the shoreline. From satellite view, you see homes, roads, farmland. From ground level, you'd see fishermen on the water, markets along the coast, families moving through the hills. Which is why this isn't a doomsday any second story. It's worse in a quieter way, because Lake Kivu is monitored, studied, and discussed precisely because it matters. There are efforts to manage risk, including projects that extract methane. There are experts measuring the layers, watching stability, tracking change. But the uncomfortable truth is that this is a long-term threat. It depends on geology. It depends on stability. It depends on human systems doing their job continuously. And from Google Earth, you'd never know any of this is under your feet. So why call these places impossible to reach? Because the barrier isn't distance. It's that the danger doesn't announce itself. You can't negotiate with it. You can't outrun it if you don't recognize it. And in every case, the deadliest moment is the same: when the air looks normal, when the landscape looks peaceful, when you think you're safe because nothing seems wrong. That's what invisible killers do. They turn ordinary places into the kind of hazard you only understand after someone doesn't come back. Google Earth shows you where places are. It doesn't show you what's waiting there. If you want more forbidden stuff, it's in the playlist. See you there.